Not really. I mean, gay role models were few and far between in the late 80s and early 90s. There were obviously very stereotypical images of gay men on the television and sort of like in British comedy, but there weren't really sort of like, you know, role models that I could connect and engage with. I think those came along a little bit later, you know, people like Jimmy Somerville, Richard Coles, people that were sort of like, you know, in bands and popular culture. So definitely they came a little bit later on. I mean, I think today we see so many more people who are feel confident and proud to kind of like come out as LGBTQ or plus, and I think that makes such a difference to have somebody that you connect to, that somebody that you feel is like you, that you don't feel quite so lonely or isolated. So I started my journey with LGBT Foundation, its predecessor organisations, back in 1991. So I've been doing this for over 30 years. So I've been doing Pride from nearly the very, very beginning. And I was one of the founders of a predecessor organisation for LGBT Foundation. And I did it mainly because I experienced extreme challenges and difficulties when I came out. My father disowned me and I ran away from home, and I ran to Manchester and founded an organisation to sort of like support and help other people, as well as helping myself at the same time as well. So I've always worked with and for LGBTQ plus communities since the early 90s, and as I say, been involved in the local Pride festivals and all the different names that it's been called over the years. Things have changed massively since I came out and moved to Manchester, all for the positive really and stuff. So we have a very vibrant LGBTQ plus community. We have a brilliant range of voluntary and community sector organisations providing support to people, providing, you know, advice and sort of like social activities, sporting activities. But I also think that there's a more of a tolerance in society, kind of like, you know, more generally. There's a sense of people being much more supportive of their friends or family members. I don't for a second mean to diminish the fact that there's still extreme levels of homophobia, biphobia and transphobia out in the world, and I'm not saying that it's an easy environment for many of my community to sort of like, you know, live and exist at the moment. We're in quite hostile times politically, and there's a lot of real discrimination aimed towards trans and non-binary members of our communities in particular. However, in the grand scheme of things, I think that things are getting better and will continue to get better. We saw a way Section 28, we've kind of like, you know, achieved significant like legislative change. And whilst we see in other parts of the world those rights can quickly disappear, so we've got to kind of like always be mindful and make sure that we keep a strong eye on maintaining and increasing those rights. I think generally we are in better times, more inclusive times, more welcoming times, and I think that things ultimately will get better.